All right, welcome to Computing Science 10. I'm going to do a series of videos here. We'll introduce you to the course and get started on our first unit. So we're going to learn to code, and what will you create? What I love about computing science is we're going to learn a bunch of skills, and then you can use those skills to build things that you're interested in. So we're going to go to CS10 here. In CS10, we're going to create web pages, apps, games, and animations with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. JavaScript is the main focus. That's the programming language we're going to learn. But JavaScript runs inside of a web browser. So HTML and CSS are the language of web pages. So we're going to learn that first so that we can have the environment to run JavaScript in. So like I said, we're going to do some web development, build some basic web pages. We'll introduce you to programming with JavaScript to make our web pages alive. And then we'll get into some web graphics and animation. We can add a canvas to our web page and use JavaScript to make drawings and animations, little games with it. And then there'll be a final project at the end of the course where you can explore additional topics. We kind of stick to the basics in these three courses here. And then if at the end of the course you really liked web development, you can explore some more advanced topics in that. If you really like the games or graphics and animations, you can explore that, etc. Okay, and then you can create your own programs. All right. This is a new website for me, so these areas are under construction still, but we can get started with web development. Okay, so web development, there's an overview. I'm making a video lesson right now, and I'll have a couple of video lessons that'll teach you the main concepts, some practice assignments, and then a summary at the end. Basically, the idea is we're going to use HTML and CSS to create a web page from a given design, right? So often there's web designers who will design a web page and say, oh, I want my web page to look like this. And the web developers take that design and make it happen using the technology, right? Using the programming languages, markup languages, style languages, that kind of stuff. Okay, so HTML is hypertext markup language, and it gives the structure and content of a web page. And CSS is cascading style sheet, and it applies the style to a web page, colors, fonts, borders, margins, etc. Okay, so that's the focus for this unit here, web development. Web page is basically the HTML file and the CSS file, right? This is your content. There's usually images, but can organize those in a folder. And this web page, this HTML file, puts all the styles and the images together into the web page that you see. We're going to focus on local development. We're just going to start by making our web pages just on our own computers. But I'll also show you how to publish your web page so that it goes to a server that's on the World Wide Web so that anyone can see it. And I recommend watching this video. It gives you a little bit of an idea how websites work, how the servers work, that kind of stuff. So I'll let you watch that on your own time. Okay, let's start by making a video. So I have this summary here of all these skills that we're going to learn. Hopefully this doesn't look too intimidating. It's not that bad. I actually have the same summary here in a Google Doc, and I want to just make a website from scratch, and we're going to kind of work through all of these different concepts in one big example. It'll probably take I don't know how many videos. We'll see how long it takes, but it'll be a bunch of videos, and we'll introduce you to all these things. Then you should be ready for some assignments of your own. Okay, so let's get started. All right. So to make a web page, we need, as I talked about, we need these documents, right? The HTML document for our content, the CSS document for our styles, and usually we'll have some images on our web page as well. Okay, so let's set up our folder and our files. So if you click on Windows Explorer, you want to make sure that you're saving stuff to your F drive. Don't save it to the C drive. That's just local to this machine that you're on. And if something goes wrong with your machine, often the tech guys will like re-image it and wipe everything from it. But the F drive is a network drive, and it gets backed up. It's stored on the school servers, so you can access stuff from your F drive on any computer in the school. All right, so that's where you want to make sure that you save your documents. So I'm going to open up the F drive. Yours is probably a lot more empty. I've got a bunch of stuff in here, I think, because I'm a teacher. I don't know why. But anyway, what I'd like you to do in here in your F drive is create a new folder, and let's call it 2018, 19, or whatever year it currently is when you're watching this, and go CS10. Okay, This will be a folder for all of our projects, and we're going to do a couple different units. So let's, our first unit is this Intro to Web Development. So we'll create a folder called Web Development. Spell it properly. There it is. And then inside of this folder will be all of our web page projects. That's where we'll put all our web page projects. All right. Now each project should get its own folder, and it'll have these different multiple files in it. Right. A web page consists of a bunch of files. So we'll create another new folder, and the website I'm going to build with you guys in this video. You can follow along with this, right? And follow along with me. We're going to do a website on web development. So I'm going to call it Web Dev Skills. Okay, will be the name of the project that we're doing. So it's going to be a website on various web development skills. All right, and inside of this that's empty right now, we're going to put some folders in there, but I'm going to make the files using a special text editor. So we don't use Google Docs, we don't use Microsoft Word. We want to use a text editor that's more designed for programming. So the one that I recommend is Visual Studio Code. It's a free download, so you can set it up at home too. Just search Visual Studio Code in Google and download it. And if we open that, here we go. It starts off with a little welcome screen, tells me that Git was not found. I do want to, we'll talk about GitHub and Git a little bit later in the course. For now, I'm just going to close that. And let's exit this welcome screen. So this is our text editor, and we can open stuff in here. What we usually want to do is, we're working on a project. So usually what I do is I take this folder, which is going to be my project folder, and I just drag that into here, and it opens up my Explorer, and it shows me that I have, okay, so this welcome screen is, I can close that. It shows me that I've got this empty Web Dev Skills folder. All right, and I can just click this little button here for New File, and I'm going to create index.html. The .html means that it's a HTML document, right, for a web page. And we call it index. That's kind of the standard name for a home page. You can call it whatever you want, but for now I recommend sticking with index.html. And then I'm going to have another file called styles.css. And that's what we're going to use for styles. And then we had a folder, so let's create a new folder called images. And there's nothing in there now, but we'll search for some images later that we can use for our web page. Okay, so this is just like any other text editor. I can type in here, save, and got my tabs here for CSS and HTML. All right, so what does HTML look like? Well, let's just go very basic. Probably one of the most important things I'm going to teach you about computing science is it's important to, there's so much information to know, and you can't possibly remember it all, so it's really important to be able to look things up. One of the nice resources for looking things up to start off with is W3 Schools. So I'm just going to click on the home page here, w3schools.com, and we're going to focus on these two tutorials here, Learn HTML and Learn CSS. So I'm going to click on the Learn HTML, and on the home page here it gives me a little example, and this is actually let's go to the introduction here. It talks about what HTML is, a simple HTML document, and it breaks down what all these different parts are. Okay, so this is I recommend reading through this. And what's cool is that I'm not going to type all this out, I'm just going to copy and paste from here, and I'll show you what this is. So I'm just going to hit Control-C, go back to here, and in my HTML document hit Control-V, and there is my HTML document. Now this little dot here shows that I've made changes and it hasn't been saved yet. So you can go File, Save, or Control-S. Just hit Control-S, and now that dot disappears. All right, so what is this all about? This is, this first line basically just declares that this is an HTML document. And what version it's going to use. Am I just saying HTML, it uses the most recent version? Then we have these start tags, HTML and a /HTML, right? This is a start tag and an end tag, or an opening tag and a closing tag. All of our HTML is going to go between those two tags. Inside of this, we have a head. I'm just going to space this over a little bit. A head, so again, an opening tag and a closing tag, and a body, open and closing. Okay, this is the basic page structure. Inside of the head goes information about the website. So for example, the title that could be used on the tab of the browser or in like search results. But this won't actually show up on the web page itself. And then the body is for all the visible content. So an H1 is a level 1 heading and a P is a paragraph. Okay, so I'm going to save this. And if we go back to here, we should now see inside of this folder our index.html and our styles.css and our images folder. Now notice this by default opens with Chrome, so if I just double click this, it should open up in Chrome, and you'll see the file index.html, right? Web Dev Skills index.html. It shows the page title. That was this title right here. And it shows my first heading and my first paragraph. Okay, so pretty basic. This is the basic page structure. I can change stuff, of course, right? I want to call this, Web Dev Skills, and then my first heading, I'll do a full version, Web Development Skills. Save that. If I go back to here now, it doesn't show my changes until I hit refresh, but now it shows that title, Web Dev Skills, and the heading, Web Development Skills. Okay. You know what? I think I'm going to leave it at that for now. If we look at this concept document, I can use HTML to create a web page with basic content. So the first thing we talked about was this HTML page structure. The doc type, right, declaring what type of document it is. The HTML, where everything will be inside of our start and end tags of the HTML, and we have a head and a body. And that head and the body and the title tag. Okay? So I'm just going to take this and let's do a little strike through on that. Ooh, how do I do that? Edit, insert, format. Apparently I don't know how to strike through something. I used to be able to do this. Seriously, that's weird. Anyway, I'm just going to, let's say, bold this and say we've done that. Next video, we'll take a look at adding more content, paragraphs, line breaks, more headings, horizontal rules, images, all that kind of stuff. But for now, that's the basics, right? Just a quick recap. If we go back to the CS10 home, we'll start with web pages, get into programming, web graphics, and then a project at the end. Hopefully you followed along with this video so that you could make this first little thing. We'll keep building on this example as we go and learn all of these wonderful skills that we have listed here. Okay, hope that makes sense, and take care, and we'll see you in the next video.